Right, fantastic. And sort of moving on to careers in general, and I think that this sort of touches on the last point that we were talking about, people are not happy in their jobs. I think confidence plays a huge role in your job. Is there a way, any way of gaining more confidence or self-belief? Because I think if you have that confidence, then maybe people will think about, I deserve a better life than the one I'm sort of stuck in. Um,
Mhm.
what do you think, Tammy?
Well, that's a big topic. And I think it's one that is deeply ingrained in a lot of people. You know, a lot of us have these uh, tapes, for those of us who remember tapes, running in through our heads, or just, messages, a lot of negative self-talk. It's actually a very natural human phenomenon. It's not even just like, oh, you're the only one who has all these negative messages. We all have them. But we have these sort of regular messages that run through our heads that tell us, I'm too much of that, I'm not enough of this. And it can undermine us in very, very, very sneaky, sneaky ways. And so it becomes a habit. Now, for some people, it really, and for some people, it's part of their upbringing. People always told them they weren't good enough, or that they would never make something out of themselves. That's a therapy kind of, that's a time to go to therapy, right? But there's also, I think, for a lot of people, there's just kind of a regular message that just keeps running, and it undermines your confidence. So again, I think it's important to get out of your own head, to learn how to reframe those things when they show up. They will keep showing up. They just will. I don't think that it's something you can totally get rid of, but you can at least identify them and notice them. So there's a great book that really helps people. Well, there's several great books, but one in particular that I'd say I probably assign it to about 90% of my clients. It's called Taming Your Gremlin by Richard Carson. He's a psychologist, and really helps you to think through, how can you just notice when those things show up, those negative messages that really undermine your confidence and tell you you're too much of this, not enough of that, and it really gets in the way of you showing up at your best. And he offers a number of sort of methodologies and approaches and tools for how you can really reframe those things. And the first thing he suggests is just simply notice when it shows up, because some of these things are so automatic. It's almost like a subconscious process. You really have to bring it to more of a consciousness. So simply notice means you notice it, you don't judge it, you don't tell yourself you're bad for having it happen, because I'm telling you, we all do this. And give yourself time to practice just simply noticing. First step, and it's a step you have to keep taking over and over again. It's hard work to get over this confidence thing, because it really is, I think, a very conscious process, kind of a cognitive behavioral kind of process. If anyone's not familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy, I'm not suggesting you have to go out and hire a cognitive behavioral
Sure.
therapist, but there's a term that we use in cognitive behavioral therapy. I say because a lot of coaching uses cognitive behavioral techniques, and it's called reframing. So
Yeah.
how can you reframe that? So if you say, I'm not, I don't like, people get feedback at work, for example. A lot of people get feedback at work. You don't speak up enough at meetings. Well, then you're insecure about, well, when I do speak up, am I saying the right things? Then you're afraid to speak up, or you're afraid you'll say the wrong thing, right? So it becomes a mad cycle. How do you then, so you have to reframe that and say, all right, so a reframe might be, um, a reframe could be, I speak up too much at meetings. That's not the case. But a reframe might be, what would it look like if I spoke up more frequently at meetings? And what would I say? Or what would be another way for me to get myself heard, even if it's not at a meeting? So that might be a better reframe. So I have things to say. I want to make them clear. how can I get myself heard? So maybe it's not about even the dynamic in a meeting, but it's how do I get myself heard so that I'm not getting this criticism about my behavior in meetings?
I mean,
Or you go back to the person who gave you that feedback and say, what would you like to hear from me in meetings? Put it back on them, even two-way street.